Yes, there are more injuries for the San Francisco 49ers. Injury report going into preseason week 3 and which players have the most to gain on the roster bubble this weekend before roster cutdowns for 2025 on today's Locked On 49ers.
You are Locked On 49ers, your daily San Francisco 49ers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On 49ers. Brian Peacock and Eric Crocker at BD Peacock at Coach Crocky. Thanks everybody for making this your first listen on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Love and appreciate all the everydayers out there. Thanks for hanging with us. Our core audience wouldn't be here without you. And if you're new to the program, welcome. We appreciate you as well. Stick around. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube or wherever you are listening to this podcast. And we're getting ready for the final tune-up preseason week number 3. Don't know how many starters, not very many of them going to be out there for the San Francisco 49ers, but there still is a lot to watch and a lot to gain for numerous players on the roster that are trying to make the football team. We're going to talk about some of those players and who we're most excited to see, who might have the most to gain or lose potentially in this preseason finale. But first, Croc, we got another bit of injury news, and this might have had something to do with the trade for Sky Moore as well, because Russell Gage now, who's been one of the better wide receivers in training camp that has been healthy for the 49ers, now he has come up with an injury, and it's an MCL sprain, and it's not a bad one. Again, luckily, a lot of these injuries aren't catastrophic injuries, but, puts his week 1 in question, and it might start to affect who makes the roster and who doesn't. And so 10 days or so is the prognosis for the MCL sprain for now Russell Gage. But the good news there at wide receiver is the guy they added in Sky Moore is now back on the roster for the San Francisco 49ers and already on the practice field doing some 11-on-11 work in day number 1. So he immediately got into town and got to work to make room for him, though, Croc. Guess what? Somebody had to go on to IR for that to happen. And apparently there's been an injury for Trey Brown, cornerback Trey Brown. And that's it. Like that, poof, his season is over. He was thought to be the number 3 corner coming into the year, and he's not going to be playing at all for the 49ers this year. He is going on injured reserve now, which kind of muddies the picture, which probably is something we're going to have to bring up about the DBs and the cornerback depth that might be fighting for that final roster spot on the 53 for the San Francisco 49ers. So there we go. That is the injury report for today, at least the major stuff for today, Croc. Oh, and by the way, Nate Sudfeld, hardly knew you. I don't know what the 49ers saw that they didn't like. So they released Nate Sudfeld and then brought back Tanner Mordecai, who's already been cut and signed 3 times this offseason now for the 49ers this summer. So Tanner Mordecai is back to play in the preseason finale for the 49ers. It's wild turn of events for the 49ers here with the injuries and who's on the roster and who's not. A little frenetic with the quarterback movement, though. So, did you maybe they didn't try him out and then he showed up and couldn't pass the physical, and they're like, oh, wait a second, this isn't the dude we saw in 2022.
No, I think that would be noted if there was anything with the physical and him not being able to pass that. I think the biggest thing there with some of these injuries and whatnot is, just yesterday, and well, actually people probably listened to it this morning, you listen to us and we're talking about, oh yeah, well, the 49ers, they may be fine. Russell Gage, he's going to be the guy that, is going to make the roster. He's going to be that veteran guy that is going to kind of help Brock Purdy as some of these younger guys get healthier and get Brandon Ayuk back. And I guess the 49ers, I don't want to say they can't have nice things, but man, they just want this to be very difficult for them to start the season. It's like playing Madden on like Hall of Fame level when everyone else is playing on like rookie. Like that's what's going. They're like, you know what? Now let's turn these sliders up only for Kyle Shanahan and make him have to deal with a plethora of injuries, really to every position. It's really unfortunate. And again, we're looking for Brock Purdy to be able to like kind of develop this continuity with like a group of guys that he's just going to be playing with. You think back to the old days and Steve Young just knew like, all right, Jerry Rice, JJ Stokes, and Terrell Owens. Like, I just have these guys, and from week to week now, day to day, we don't know who the hell Brock Purdy's going to be throwing to. So I think, even before we get to the quarterback stuff and all that, it's just really unfortunate that the 49ers can't really get into any groove with the receiver group.
And by the way, I want to get the phrasing correct according to Matt Mayoko. The 49ers terminated the contract of Nate Sudfeld. So I don't know how that's different from just flat out releasing a guy or cutting a guy, or did they not even finalize the deal? I don't know how that works, but his contract was terminated. So there you go. Does it feel like the 49ers have had a more injured team than most teams in the NFL, Croc?
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels that way, right?
Yes.
Because
It seemed like it's something that just started. It's been a little up and down, or a lot of up and down. But like, I mean, you go back to that last year with Harbaugh, 2014. They were like the most injured team in the NFL. They had a ton of guys on the IR list. So everybody looks back on that season. Actually, one of the more impressive things is that Harbaugh was able to win 8 games that year. They went 8-8 with a team that was just riddled with injuries all over the field. Again, like the most injured team in the league that season. I think that speaks to how good of a coach Jim Harbaugh is. But I feel like ever since then, and it might be the Levi's Stadium, like just this voodoo that's been put over it. But ever since they got to Levi's Stadium, I feel like the injuries, they've just been mounting up. And I don't know why. It could just be super random. But man, every year almost it feels like the 49ers are dealing with this. And when they don't deal with this, then they go to the conference championship or the Super Bowl.
yeah, and it's honestly, so I've got it up on the screen right now. Aaron Schatz, who's kind of the godfather of modern analytics and always worth a follow on Twitter, broke it down. And since 2017, so in the Kyle Shanahan era, 49ers ranks each year in adjusted games lost. So the higher the number means the more injuries. So last year, 2024, the 49ers were 32, which means they were the most injured team in adjusted games lost for their injured players. So they were the most injured team in the NFL. The year before, 2023, they go to a Super Bowl, right? When they were 4th in the NFL. But you go back 2022, they were 24th. 2021, they were 29th. 2020, again, dead last, 32 in the NFL. And that is not including COVID losses. And that's just injury adjusted games lost for the 49ers in 2020. 2019, 27th. 2018, 26th. 2017, 22. So they've been bottom 10 in the NFL every single year except for 2023. And they've had some really good years, even in some of these in seasons when they have had quite a few injuries. And they've been bottom 5 in most of these years as well, not just bottom 10 in the NFL. But here's the thing is it does go back to the Harbaugh era. They've been a very injured team, but guess what? The years they weren't the most injured team in the NFL, they went to the Super Bowl. So in that respect, the Jim Harbaugh era 49ers, who we're going to see this weekend, and the Kyle Shanahan 49ers have something in common there. So I don't know if you can blame it all on Kyle Shanahan. And remember, there was a lot made of that, and a lot of it was blamed on, okay, it must be the training staff and all this. And the 49ers changed everything, right? New team doctors, new training staff and everything. And that trend has still continued for the 49ers. So it's certainly a trend. The 49ers are more injured than other teams in the NFL, Croc. Is it just luck, though, or is it something else? And we have a question in the chat about if it's because of Kyle Shanahan's belief that teams need to get themselves sort of calloused during the summer, or is it they stretch wrong? I mean, you've heard every excuse that there is for it. Is it the way they practice? Is it luck? I have no idea, man. I'm not even qualified to comment on it. It's crazy, but it's such a trend that there has to be something that is happening because it's not just completely random. The 49ers are more injured than other teams consistently.
Well, if you're going back to the Harbaugh days and they were banged up as well, one thing that's I think is very clear, they play a very similar brand of football. Like those are tough, hard-nosed teams. They want to run the ball. They want to pound the rock. They want to block you. They want to be more physical than their opponents. And people say that, like, oh, we want to out-physical our opponents. But, like, that was really Jim Harbaugh and the way that his teams played. And I feel like that's the way that Kyle Shanahan's teams play as well. And I wonder if that just wears down guys. Is that what we're seeing? The interesting with that is, you look back at the old school running backs, as physical of a game as they were playing, and receivers as well, guys weren't getting hurt. I mean, the running backs were toting the rock 300 times for 11 straight years, and receivers were rarely getting hurt. I feel like when you had the Sterling Sharp injury with the neck, you had that same thing with Irvin, Jerry Rice at one point towards ACL, but aside from that, just felt like those guys were always out there. Like guys, they just played all their games. It's the same in the NBA too. You go to the NBA and you look at, Michael Jordan played every game this season, every game this season, every game this season. And you don't see that anymore in the NBA as well. So is there a bit of overtraining going on? And maybe it's gotten a little bit too scientific to where it's actually having a counter effect or counterproductive effect and actually hurting guys more.
Yeah, I mean, it used to be 2-a-days and in the summer and Oklahoma drills and that was for sure building up calluses in guys. I do think there's a selection bias in that. I always think of Nolan Ryan, Hall of Fame Major League pitcher, because you will never have another Nolan Ryan because nobody will be allowed to throw as much as Nolan Ryan did to become Nolan Ryan, right? Even if their body would have held up. And I think that's something that happens at an earlier age as guys are not calloused as much early, which means they're not going to be up to the challenge later if they are asked to do more. And you also will find that some bodies aren't going to hold up and they would have broke down sooner if they were asked to do more sooner. And then you'd be left with the guys who got through that were able to handle more workload. And those would be the players who were left. And you don't get that. You don't get that filtered through at younger ages and younger ages of ball, which is probably better if they get more players, to the NFL and to the pros. So I don't know. And again, like not even qualified to speak on it, to be honest with you. And that's what's difficult about all of this. You just have to trust your staff and trust your trainers and trust that you're doing it right and you're warming up correctly and you're hydrating correctly. And the workloads, it's so scientific. It's odd that you're injured more as things get more scientific, and you would think that it would be going in the other direction, but it's not. So let's talk about who's on the field and who has the most to gain and potentially lose. Some of the roster bubbles and battles in preseason week number 3 next. This episode of Locked On 49ers presented by Yahoo Fantasy. It's the best time of year. We're almost there. One more preseason game, and then the real thing. That means fantasy football is back in full swing. Ton of fantasy drafts in the next a couple of weeks before the NFL kicks off for real. Yahoo Fantasy is turning things up with a fantasy football experience like never before, and I'm playing Yahoo Fantasy this year like I have for a very long time, and you should too, whether you're a first-timer or a veteran like me making your millionth league. And there's always something new. And to celebrate 28 years of fantasy football greatness, Yahoo is dropping 28 big new features over the next 28. Well, not the next 28 days. It's already begun. 28 days throughout August. And one of the big kickoff drops for this Yahoo Fantasy season is Yahoo Guillotine Leagues, a killer new way to play Yahoo Fantasy football where the lowest scoring team gets eliminated each week until there's one team left standing. With the season just around the corner, now's the time to get your league together and give this new mode a try. And maybe you're just into the classics. That's okay, too. You can still play head-to-head private leagues or join a public league. So stay tuned for more killer announcements and start playing Yahoo Fantasy Football now at yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL. So, Croc, taking a look at the news and notes from Santa Clara on Thursday. Interesting battle at safety, and I don't even know. I assume Marcus Siegel is going to play in this game. I don't know if Pinnock's going to play, but according to Matt Barrows, all 3 safeties of Jason Pinnock, Jair Brown, and Marcus Siegel rotated with the first-string defense, but it seemed that Pinnock-Siegel was the duo that got the most snaps. And it feels like the Niners really like Pinnock. Robert Saleh really likes Pinnock, who brought over from the New York Jets. And it's kind of the rookie Marcus Siegel versus Jair Brown. And it feels to me like if the rookie can prove to the 49ers, and maybe there's one more test here on Saturday, that he can hang with the starters, then he's going to be the starter.
Yeah, I mean, that speaks well to how fast he's picking up, the defense. A lot of times, especially for these backing guys and these safeties, everybody thinks of the linebackers as the quarterbacks of the defense, but safeties have to know so much as well, setting up the strength side and the weak side and making sure that, guys are aligned right. There's a lot of kind of quarterbacking that goes on at that position for a young guy to be able to step in and pick up on a lot of that and really make it to where there is a competition and a battle with a guy who has been there and started a lot of games for the 49ers. I think that speaks very well to, just how good he's picked that up since becoming the 49er.
So big battle there. And that's for a starting position. I don't even know how many starting positions are still up for grabs for the 49ers, right? But safety, I think there is one between Pinnock and Jair Brown and Marcus Siegel. And then we'll see what happens when Malik Mustafa comes back from his ACL tear that he's still, rehabbing and working his way back from.
Here's a question right here in the chat.
Okay.
Who does Malik Mustafa replace when he gets back? That's the real question. And we are assuming that the rookie is making his way in, and I think it's Pinnock that Mustafa eventually replaces, and then you just have a secondary with a rookie in a second year safety.
Yeah, and I guess that's probably one way to look at it too. So is it who's playing the free safety spot, who's playing the strong safety spot? The 49ers like to interchange those, but Malik Mustafa is kind of the strong safety. He's more of a box player. So is it, do they go with Siegel with the eye on him staying at free safety, and then they have Jair Brown at strong safety? Pinnock's kind of been playing the free safety role for the most part. But we haven't seen him a lot in the preseason. So will they kind of interchange those two, and will they kind of play them all at both, just to know that all these guys can play both, and they just put their two best safeties out there when Malik Mustafa is back? So it's definitely something to watch too. I think we can learn a lot from not only who's on the field, but where they're lining up as well, and kind of see into the 49ers plans for the future when Malik Mustafa comes back. But I would assume if Marcus Siegel earns the starting job right out of the gate, that they would probably believe that he's someone that's going to stay in there when Malik Mustafa comes back.
Siegel, another 5th round steal. I mean, that seems to be the hot spot for the 49ers, and they're just getting guys year after year that are like just big time contributors, right? Like, we're not even saying like, oh, he's just going to be this great all pro safety, which they've gotten that too out of Talanoa Hufanga, but just a guy who comes in and man, you get a guy in the 5th round and he's starting games for you, especially early on. That is a huge win for the 49ers. So the fact that he's even in the competition right now for starting, or in the conversation to start at that safety position, I think that should leave fans very optimistic with him being maybe another one of those guys who the 49ers found on day 3.
What do you think about this? SJ Sharks fan says Chase Lucas has probably been the best player in the preseason. He has to make the team at this point, right? Especially with Trey Brown, who was someone who was working in the nickel spot, going on IR. Upton Stout's been a little bit banged up. I don't think the 49ers would feel comfortable with thinking that Chase Lucas could make it back to their practice squad with the tape he's put on out there for all the teams to see in the preseason. So I think I agree. What do you think? Chase Lucas, bubble player? Has he already locked himself up a spot? Does he have to have another big preseason week 3 game to make the 49ers final 53? Or you always say final 53. It's never the final 53, but it is the final 53 going into the season.
Yeah, no, Chase Lucas is very interesting, and he is out there making plays. I think, watching somebody that's been flying around, being able to be a little versatile with how the 49ers have played him, he's made his mark. I mean, he was a guy that I felt like stood out when I was at the practice watching the San Francisco 49ers. He's a high energy guy as well. So when you see a guy like that with the high energy, he's making plays, it just kind of gives a coach a certain level of confidence in this guy. And I think it's going to be hard to keep even the guy you drafted like Darrell Luter over Lucas. And if I'm not mistaken, I mean, they may have come into the league around the same time. Like, Chase Lucas hasn't been in the NFL for a ton of years, 2-3 years maybe? So he's still relatively young.
Absolutely. And I love the energy he brings.
Did he go to multiple universities? Where did he go? Arizona State?
I don't remember. I don't remember the college scouting report on Chase Lucas coming out.
Let me see. Chase Lucas.
Well, while you look it up, you brought up another name in the secondary. Let's finish up the talk about the secondary here, because again, Trey Brown was a versatile guy that could play nickel. He could play outside. And I think there's a really good battle after Diamador Lenore and Renardo Green for the guys on the outside. Lucas, more of a nickel. Upton Stout's more of a nickel. I think at this point, they could both make the team. I think Jacob Robinson has had a good camp by most accounts. Darrell Luter is battling. Dallas Flowers also has the bonus that he's shown some ability to return kicks, not super dynamic returning kicks, but he can do it. Fabian Moreau, it's not that deep of a group now. And I think there's some battles going on. And at this point, I think multiple names that I just mentioned can absolutely make the team for the 49ers. In fact, how many corners are you going to take? 5, 6? You got Renardo Green, Diamador Lenore, Upton Stout's going to make it. If we like Chase Lucas to make it, that leaves still a couple of spots for Darrell Luter and Dallas Flowers at this point. And Jacob Robinson maybe would be that bubble player battling with those guys. Do they want to keep Jacob Robinson? Have they not seen enough from Darrell Luter?
All right, so here we go. One thing on Chase Lucas. He did go to Arizona State, so somehow I remembered that. Don't know why.
Nice.
But he has been in the NFL for 3 years. He spent 2 years with Detroit Lions. Last year, he was with the 49ers the entire time. They signed him in March, so he was there all season. Released him, brought him back. He was on the 49ers practice squad the entire year. So this is a guy that the 49ers are very – now, I do remember when they brought him in. Now that I look at all this, he's a guy that they're very familiar with. So if he's doing well, it's not just someone they just signed off the street. Randomly he showed up and it's like, oh, he's doing cool. Like, oh, no, he's been around the 49ers organization for over a year now. And I think that definitely would give him a strong case to make this team.
4.4 speed, 39-inch vertical, according to the chat for Chase Lucas as well pre-draft. So there you go. He's got the athleticism, NFL body, NFL skills. I love it. Lock it in. Chase Lucas, really good shot, making the 49ers 53-man roster. Let's talk a little bit more about what we're watching for in the final preseason tune-up against the Los Angeles Chargers. Some roster battles still to play out next. This episode of Locked On 49ers presented by BetterHelp. These days, it feels like there's advice for everything. Cold plunges, gratitude journals, screen detoxes, but how do you know what actually works for you? And there's a place for, I think, all of those things. But with so much information out there online about mental health and wellness, it can be overwhelming to figure out what's true and what will actually help you. That's where talking to a licensed therapist through BetterHelp can make all the difference. You get real, personalized guidance instead of just guessing based on something you saw on social media. I'm talking 30,000 therapists that have helped more than 5 million people at BetterHelp, the world's largest online therapy platform. And it's super easy. You fit it into your schedule. That is the beauty of online therapy. You can fit it in when you need to, in your work schedule, in your life schedule, and just click to connect. And you can even switch therapists at any time if you need to. So talk it out with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at BetterHelp.com/lockedon. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedon. Get big news for you folks out there and an update for Doer, my new favorite jeans brand. I've been telling you guys about Doer all week long, and they've got a grand opening, a new Doer store in San Francisco. That opening has been pushed back a couple of days. Still, August 29th now is the date. Mark it on your calendar. Doer is opening a brand new store in Hayes Valley on August 29th. And let me tell you why it's worth making the trip. I've been wearing my performance denim. I got mine in relaxed. You can go slim, straight. They have sizes, fits for everyone. The jeans are top notch. They look phenomenal. They feel phenomenal. And they're antibacterial, which means they stay fresh longer so you can wear more and wash less. And the Cool Max technology regulates your temperature, wicks away moisture, perfect for those unpredictable San Francisco days. So whether you want to go slim jeans, you will have a little bit more athletic fit, you can find it all. And it's 5 times the stretch of traditional denim. So they move all the ways you need them to. They look phenomenal. They feel phenomenal. The shirts, phenomenal as well. Might like them just as much as the jeans. And Doer combines that classic jean wear style with the comfort and performance of athletic wear without sacrificing style. So the Doer will be opening Their brand new store, that is DUER, by the way, Doer, opening a brand new store, Hayes Valley, August 29th. Head on over to 567 Hayes Street and mention our code LOCKEDONSF in store for 15% off your first order, or go to shopdoer.com/LockedOnSF. That's Doer, DUER, for 15% off online. Trust me, once you try them, you will never want to wear anything else.
Hey, I just did a little bit deeper dive on Chase Lucas, and I do remember him there with Jack Jones. And Jack Jones is the guy, he was at USC and went to Arizona State. They both got drafted the same year. But looking at some of his measurables, a shade under 6 feet tall, 4.48 40, so solid. That's fine. But man, 6.783 cone, 39-inch vert, 10.8, 10 feet 8 inch broad jump. So pretty explosive athlete for a guy. You see a guy kind of with that kind of makeup, a lot of experience at Arizona State. He was there for like 5 years. So I was like, man, why didn't it quite pan out for you to be a higher draft pick than like 7th round?
I did not recall this either. Demo and Chase had a scuffle in the NFC Championship game, and now they're besties. That's from Howdy in the chat. So there you go.
How'd they get in the scuffle on maybe special teams?
I guess special teams had to be special teams, right? Yeah. And new special teams coordinator, he's going to pick some guys, right? So that's a big one too. Who's got that special teams value? That's why I think a guy like Dallas Flowers has a really good shot to make it. It's why I think probably unless Junior Bergen shows a lot, he's one of those bubble players, Croc, if we're going back to the offensive side of the ball now. Junior Bergen, you bring in, you have a DB that you might need to keep some extra numbers at DB. Dallas Flowers can return some kicks for you. And you bring in Sky Moore, who's a pretty good athlete, a more dynamic athlete than Junior Bergen is, and helps more on offense and can also return the rock, and actually just returned a touchdown a few days ago. So that tells me that Junior Bergen's on the outside looking in, needs a big game here to put something on tape to make the 49ers feel like they can't bring him back to the practice squad if they waive him, or maybe, just put something out there for another team that wants to pick him up if he doesn't make the 53, which right now would probably project that Junior Bergen does not make the 53-man roster. Russell Gage now coming down with an injury. Is that bad enough for him not to make the roster? Isaiah Hodgins been healthy. Robbie Chosen
got a few passes in the last preseason game. Like, come on, give my guys some love.
Robbie Chosen too. I mean, the veteran players that you can play, and you can't say that right now about an injured Russell Gage. You can't say it about an injured Jacob County. Can't say that about an injured Jordan Watkins, who's also a rookie that might run the wrong route. Right? What we saw in his last preseason game, we kind of saw the whole rookie experience. So I think that really helps guys like Isaiah Hodgins and maybe even Malik Turner, maybe Tariq Owens, and Robbie Chosen, who are, I think, on the roster bubble going into this final preseason game. So some guys playing for some roster spots, I think.
Come on, man. Show my guy Isaiah Hodgins some love. Tim McDonald, former 49er, he once said, Croc, you can't make the club in the tub. Now, I still don't quite understand exactly what that means. Like, what tub are you talking about? But whatever tub that is, I'm assuming what he means is you can't make the club if you're hurt, Right. Yeah. And Isaiah Hodgins, he's healthy, and he's ready to rock. He's ready to roll, and they're throwing the ball to him. He's catching passes in the last preseason game. Give my guy more opportunities. I think he might just be too tall for Kyle Shanahan. 6'5", a little too tall for me. That's what Kyle Shanahan said.
Yeah, he's like, ooh, Sky Moore, 5'9" and 5'8". Let's go. It's funny because that's one of the things. So I mentioned Sky Moore kind of knocks out 3 players, right? You're like, okay, Jacob Cowan, we liked him last year, 5'9", 190 or whatever it is, right? 4.4 flat speed. You got Jordan Watkins, 4.4 flat speed, 5'10 and a half, whatever it is, 5'11 maybe, 190 pounds, right? And Sky Moore right there, 5'9", 5'10, 195 pounds, 4.4 flat speed. Like Kyle's kind of wanted to have one of those guys, and Cowing and Watkins aren't available right now. So Sky Moore can kind of be that guy for Kyle Shanahan and can also be a return man. So he kind of knocks out Cowing and Watkins and Junior Bergen all at once. Not that he knocks Cowing or Watkins off the roster, but he just takes up that roster spot for guys who are injured that Kyle feels like he has a role for that type of player, and especially someone who can run after catch, which I think, Sky Moore, if he's playing on offense, that might be something some way that they utilize him. Running back's interesting too. So Garendo back at practice this week. Christian McCaffrey healthy. So that's 1 and 2. Jordan James, I'm not sure exactly where he's supposed to be. It's coming up soon that I think the prognosis for him to be ready. It's going to be a little bit longer for the high ankle sprain for Corey Kiner. And if they want to put him on, IR to return, he's going to have to make the 53-man roster first. Do they keep more than 4 guys on the roster? And if they do they have to bring somebody back later to add to it? Because you got to be able to suit up 3 running backs plus a fullback, I think, in week number 1, right? And right now they only have 2 healthy running backs from the guys I would project making the roster. So, Keyshawn Vaughn might have to make the final 53. So it's definitely some running backs that are on that roster bubble that have something to prove, I think, in preseason week number 3.
Man, running backs, man, I mean, just they're going down left and right for the 49ers. And some of the things, just not their fault. I think it was Kiner I saw go down in the last game, and it was just the way he got tackled. It was just an awkward tackle, and boom, he's out the game. So I don't know what it's going to take for the 49ers to be able to just have a back and be able to say, you know what, this is our guy for the whole year. I guess not playing Christian McCaffrey at all in the preseason has been a plus because at the very least, he's going to be ready for week 1.
By the way, in the chat, apparently post-game during the handshakes and hat ceremony. So we were already going live probably on this podcast when this was going down between Deommodore Lenoir and Chase Lucas, which is why we don't remember it very well. Oregon versus Arizona State. Is that what's going on there? That might have some history to it.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's from Chandler, Arizona. So I was thinking maybe are they both from Los Angeles? Because, Arizona State, we're getting a lot of guys from Southern California. But nope. Might just be some Arizona State, Oregon beef.
O-line's another one. A lot of roster battles, a lot of roster bubble players there. Nick Zakelj, I'm still, it's years in now. I'm still not super sold on Nick Zakelj. The rookie 7th rounder in Connor Colby, hit and miss. I'm not sure he's ready. People are talking about maybe he's going to start for the 49ers if Dominic Pooney can't go at right guard. I'm not so sure I'm there with that. To be honest with you, I think he maybe has been outplayed by Drew Moss. Has been one of the most impressive of the young.
A lot of people are excited about Moss.
Yeah,
so, a lot of people. I'm seeing a lot of people really excited about how he's playing on that O-line.
I think Drew Moss might be a guy that you can't let go. And I think there's a lot still to play out there. Matt Hennessy's backup center. He has played guard in the NFL. Do we see him play a little bit of right guard in place of an injured Dominic Pooney? So look who's lining up at right guard. Do they utilize Spencer Burford as a 6th man and let him go back to playing right guard? He's started the most games out of those guys at right guard in his career. So that'll be something to watch with Pooney not playing. Who's the first guy out there at right guard and who plays best? And those guys are definitely fighting for some roster spots behind the starters, whether it's Hennessy, Zakelj, Drew Moss, Connor Colby. I'm not too sure about Isaiah Prince and Austin Pleasance. They haven't shown a lot, but the 49ers probably need one of those other offensive tackles along with Spencer Burford on the roster unless they go shopping on the waiver wire for one of those guys. Drake Nugent, Michael Dunn, those are the offensive linemen. I think there's a lot of guys fighting for spots there, but to this point, Drew Moss has been, I think, the most impressive there for me. You know who is going to make the roster? Jake Tongas, Croc. You know why he's going to make the roster? Because I saw big number 88 lining up at fullback last week. And you don't carry 2 fullbacks. So I think Niners are pretty locked in with their top 3 tight ends. It's clearly George Kittle, right? Tight end 1. He's tight end 1 for the world. Then you got Luke Farrell and you got Jake Tongas. Those are for sure. Braden Willis, do they carry 4 would be really the big question there for me.
Jake Tongas.
How about the defensive line? I think that's the last. I mean, linebacker. I guess there is some bubble at linebacker. I don't think Stone Blanton is an undrafted free agent done enough to make the 49ers feel like they need 3 middle linebackers with Tatum Bethune, I think, fully locked in as the backup and locked into a roster spot there behind Fred Warner. And I don't think Stone Blanton's a player you have to really worry a lot about getting poached off of waivers. I think he's a player that you can feel pretty confident he'll make it back to you. Never 100% with these guys. You don't never know who somebody really liked in the draft process, and they saw enough on film to make a claim. Nick Martin's obviously making the roster. I think it is going to be D Ford, though, as the starter. Curtis Robinson, when he's healthy, he's a good player. He's a good
D Winters. I think you said D Ford.
Sorry, yeah, D Winters. Thank you. And then So that leaves Jalen Graham versus Chaz Surratt. Kind of, and I guess Curtis Robinson would be in the mix there for the last spot if you keep a 6 linebacker. And sorry, Luke Gifford as well. I had to mention there, Luke Gifford has been a good special teamer. I think they brought him in. I think he's actually probably pretty safe. If I had to guess, Chaz Surratt, Curtis Robinson, Luke Gifford, Bethune, Martin, Warner, Winters. That's 6.
Yeah. So I was going to say for the final spots, you want to find out who's going to be the guy, look at the special teams and where they have certain guys, and that'll tell you everything you need to know there. Because guys that they expect to be around, they're going to put them on all the special teams units, especially if they're not, a top 3 linebacker on the team.
Here's a tough one for me is Sebastian Valdez, the undrafted defensive tackle who's put some good tape out there and looked really good. I don't know that he makes it to the practice squad. I almost feel like he has to make the roster. Croc, I have no idea who is starting at defensive tackle for the 49ers in week 1. No clue. And the rookies are going to make it. Like Alfred Collins and CJ West are going to make the roster, right? Kalia Davis has never, he's kind of like the Nick Sakel of defense. It's been like late round guy. It's like, okay, maybe you like him a little bit, but he's never impressed me to the point where I'm like, oh yeah, we need to get that guy on the field. Do you go super young? Do you go because Kevin Givens is out with the pec injury. So do you go with the one veteran that you have left in Jordan Elliott and then go rookie, West, Collins, Valdez, and then like Evan Anderson or Kalia Davis? Do you only keep 4? Do you keep 5? Do you count Michael Williams and Yetur Gross-Matos that can come in so you take less numbers at defensive tackle? I think some guys playing for that roster spot for sure at defensive tackle in this game. It's wide open there.
Yeah, super wide open. I'm looking at it right now. And I think we always felt that way, but you were hoping that the big young guys kind of just stepped up and stayed healthy to where they would be. I guess you wanted Elliott to be more insurance for the younger guys. Like, all right, if they're not 100% ready to play right now, then all right, we can start him. But right now, it feels like, especially with some of the guys getting kind of banged up a little bit down there, I think Elliott's going to have to start. And they haven't shown us a lot of confidence in Alfred Collins to be a guy that can step in and start day one, which typically that is what you're looking for when you draft a guy pretty high in the second round.
Collins has not looked ready to start at all to me. And so, hopefully he shows more. And he's a little bit behind because he played less than the other guys in the spring because of the calf injury. So see that progression, hopefully, in preseason week number 3 to make you feel more comfortable for the amount of snaps that he could potentially play in week number 1. At this point, if I had to guess, snap 1, week 1 at defensive tackle, Jordan Elliott next to CJ West. That's my guess right now. That is my projection.
Hey, one injury that we were kind of keeping an eye on loosely, right? Because not a 49er, but on the Los Angeles Rams. I saw Matthew Stafford throw a touchdown pass to Devontae Adams today at practice. I thought he was going to be out a little bit longer.
You don't want that. You don't want that connection to take off, do you? That could be a rough one for the 49ers if all of a sudden Stafford's like, no, I'm good. Rested the back. I'm fine. And Devontae's like, yep, I'm still Devontae Adams.
I slowed it down. Is that a number 9? Yeah, it's a number 9. He won't hold up for a season, right? Can't hold up for a season.
He's practicing. He's back just in time. He's not going to play in the preseason. The Rams usually don't play a lot of guys in the preseason. They started slow last year. They still won the division. So 49ers are hoping that they can take a page out of the Rams book from last year, quickly develop some defensive talent that can rebuild that thing very quickly. Returns are good. Some of these rookies are going to play if they're healthy. Let's get out of this one healthy, Croc, in preseason week number 3. Croc and I back post-game to break it all down for you. Actually, Croc and I are going to be back with you probably Sunday night at our normal time, not post-game. We are launching a brand new program here on the Locked On 49ers channel. It is the Locked On Squads shows. They're going to be coming at you twice a week. They're going to be a little longer, less structured. I'm going to hang out. Eric Engel, you might remember from Postcast, doing 49er stuff, doing San Francisco Giants stuff as well, is going to be pressing the buttons. I'm going to be kind of just hanging out in the analyst role. You're going to see me on there. You're going to see some Croc on there. And we've got a 49ers legend, Dwayne Board, joining us as well. And that show, 49ers Squad, is going to debut this Saturday post game following preseason week number 3. And then it's going to be usually coming after our Locked On 49ers regular shows post game, and then another time throughout the week. So more on the 49ers squads. You're going to want to tune into that. It's going to be right here on the Locked On 49ers feeds post game Saturday. And of course, Croc, good luck tomorrow, Friday night, game 1 of Croc's no doubt legendary head coaching career. Let's go Stag State.
Let's go.